Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's call. Tonight's a special call, last Thursday of the month. It's normally known as Impilo Thursday. My name is Nick, and I'm coming to you from Johannesburg here in South Africa. Tonight, I have a very special person with me. He's our resident brain. He's our resident guru, as our resident scientist. He knows everything, you know. You want to know anything, go to Dr. Trevor Baillie. He'll tell you exactly what's going on. And we said, you know what? We're going to convert the Impilos going forward. We're going to have Dr. Trevor on with us, and he's going to tell us in depth about the products that we sell. Because it's good to sell the product, but know about your product. You know, knowledge is power, but applied knowledge is much more powerful. So we have Dr. Trevor with us. I'm not going to faff around. I'm going to hand over to the good doc. He's going to take us through a quick explanation of this amazing product, the hero ImmunoMX, soon to be launched in Nigeria. We have Nigeria brothers and sisters on the call here tonight. We welcome you. We welcome all those that are watching the recording. This is for you. Know about the product. We're going into winter now. This is the fitting time to know about our ImmunoMX. So over to you, Dr. Trevor Baillie.
Thanks, Nick. Yeah, just to follow on that, as Nick said, it's going into the winter months. Obviously, we're a lot more susceptible to various illnesses, especially cold, flu, bronchitis, and it can progress into things like pneumonia. So the ImmunoMX, the ideal supplement to actually start taking immediately. You know, I'll get into it a little bit later and so on, but that's why we're focusing on it. So if we just take a brief outline, just so you got a better understanding of the immune system, it's actually an extremely complex thing. You know, it's not, we take it for granted. We think, it's just there. We get a little bit of a snotty nose, or the immune system's working, but there's a lot that goes into it. And it's surprising because there's a lot of organs that are involved, and you can see them all there. It's your tonsils, your lymph nodes, the thymus gland, spleen, Peyer's patches, lymph vessels, and then very important bone marrow. Okay, all of those organs are responsible for the production of white blood cells. Now, we're probably very familiar with white blood cells, having come through COVID. We learned a lot about immune system and what it does. You know, like generally we started educating ourselves. We were told about immunity and how to boost immunity and to fight off this virus and keep your body strong and prevent secondary infections and so on. And that's where white blood cells, all of a sudden, everyone came to know. Your white blood cells, there's obviously different types. I'm not going to go into all the things, but there you can see neutrophils, monocytes, eosinophils, basophils, lymphocytes, plasma cells, and all of those cells play different roles. You can see there, you know, some of them are the first line of defense. Some of them will come in later, you know, and fight when it's more chronic, or what they call adaptive immunity, but we'll get into all of those, you know. So that's your basic outline of the immune system and what it does. So if we look further into that, the next slide there is the immune system's working all the time. So don't just think it only works when you're sick and that. Remember, we're exposed to bacteria, viruses. You'll see down the bottom, and they're all foreign invaders. They include viruses, bacteria, parasites, mold, various allergens. Constantly, our body is exposed to these things, you know, so it's always fighting. It's always ready. It's like your army. It's that first line of defense. It's ready, it's waiting, it's there, it's armed and ready to function. And even without you knowing it, it's actually fighting off things without any sort of, you don't even realize it. You know, it's keeping everything at bay. Very important for immune function, and we've got to keep stressing it with whatever we do, is this adequate supply of nutrients. You have to have those. Okay, so it comes back down to lifestyle, healthy lifestyle, good balanced diet, fresh fruits, fresh veggies, all of those sort of things. That is the foundation of a healthy immune system. Okay, so, and we know the basis of the immune system is to protect against all of these viruses and bacteria. Okay, so types of immunity, how the body fights it off, is innate immunity. So that, just so you know, that's that first line of defense. So that's the army. That's lining up there. The foreign invader, we spoke about the bacteria, the viruses, mold, whatever pathogen and allergen enters the body. All of those white blood cells, so all of the organs that you saw there, the lymph nodes, thymus, everything activate, boom, release all of these white blood cells, let's call them troops. So the troops go out, boom, into the field, and they form that first line of defense. That's innate immunity. So that's that virus or bacteria as it is. So that's the first thing. Then you get what's called acquired immunity, also known as adaptive immunity. And that's from recurrent exposure to the same thing. So the body builds up almost like a memory. So it knows. So this army then becomes very clever. And it's like, wait, hang on, we know what's coming. So it starts preparing itself and it's ready. So when that virus, before it can even, and that's why I'm saying a lot of the things we don't even realize that it's attacked us, you know. So the first time it happened, yes, you might have been really sick. The next time, it's like, didn't even realize it. You might have just had a headache or an itchy throat or something, you know, and it never progressed into anything else. That's the adaptive immunity, okay? And that's what is very important to build up over a process. You want a strong immune system for this adaptive immunity. So the next time you're exposed to something, your body fights it off. Okay. So the immune response, okay, and we've all had an infection, so we know what this is all about. So your first is inflammation. So what happens is the area inflamed. So let's think of the basic bacteria, boom, tonsils, sore throat, it's sore, it's inflamed, it's red, it's, you know, and the pain is there. That's from the inflammation. That's the first response that the body hits out at, okay? Then that's followed by what's called an oxidative burst. That's your reactive oxidative species, ROS, okay? It's an injection of all those organisms we saw there, your neutrophils, basophils, attacking these pathogens and just pumping it full of oxygen and stuff to kill it. Okay, so it wants that first. And then the third step is called proliferation. So all of those white blood cells all of a sudden go through the roof. So you get that increase in production because you want more. So more troops to the front line, and that prevents the infection getting any further. Okay, so very important to follow that process, boost immunity. The stronger your army is, the quicker you get over any kind of infection. Okay, and that's where ImmunoMX comes in. Okay, specifically formulated. You can see there, we'll go touch on all of the different ingredients, but very important there, the first three: vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc. Everyone knows about those, you know, a massive boom in those three with COVID. A lot of research was getting done, a lot of information made available, how that initial boost, that front line, that, you know, your army, how those three nutrients, the 2 vitamins, 1 mineral, help to boost immune function and lessen the effect of the infection on the body. So it doesn't, the virus doesn't grow, it doesn't get stronger. Your army is stronger than the virus, and that's what you want. It's an unfavorable environment, and it cannot survive. So it leaves or it dies. You wipe it out. Okay, so we know that the vitamin C, the vitamin D, and the zinc, a lot was documented over the COVID times. Selenium, echinacea, olive leaf, and your grapeseed extract. Okay, so that makes up the basis of the formulation. The dose, 2 capsules. Again, I'll touch a little bit more on that when we go through. So if we look in the next slide, all the different the functions of those, you can see the vitamin C, we know these things though, plays a role in reducing the duration of the common cold. Okay. It also then reduces the incidence of respiratory tract infections and also helps relieve symptoms of acute bronchitis. So that the lungs, the chest. So you know what happens, you get a cold, you get a sore throat. If your body's not strong enough, what happens? It progresses into a cough, an acute bronchitis, nothing major. If that's left untreated, obviously it progresses into something like pneumonia, a lot more severe, a lot more chronic. So you want to hit it as soon as possible. Okay, as soon as you get those initial symptoms of the clear nose, running, constant streaming, the sore throat, you want to hit it with the vitamin C. Okay, vitamin D, similar. A lot of research was done on the boosting lung health, and that especially with infections that affect the lungs. Again, COVID was one of those, and that's where vitamin D came out. Vitamin D in our climate we get a lot of because we got a lot of sun. In European climates, obviously became very important to take extra vitamin D supplementation to boost immune function and specifically strengthen the lungs. Okay, the zinc, again, similar to vitamin C, in it reduces the duration of the common cold. It also reduces the risk of that acute bronchitis developing into pneumonia, and it's an effective treatment for various viral infections of the respiratory tract. Okay, so COVID's not the only one, but influenza is one. Most of your viral infections, you know, it starts as a virus and then progresses into a bacterial infection or so on. So zinc plays a very important role there. Okay. The other mineral that plays a role is selenium. Selenium is a powerful antioxidant. And there's some research coming out that says it may also help with the treatment of influenza. Why antioxidants are important? Remember, we spoke that ROS, the oxidative burst, as part of the immune response. So your antioxidants are going to help with that process. Okay. Then the herbals. So echinacea, been around for years. People have been using it. It's a traditional Western remedy, specifically used for upper respiratory tract infections because it has antiviral activity. And we know, like, you know, products have been on the market for years as, you know, immune boosters. So you take echinacea to help improve and increase immune function during the winter months, during the high season for colds and flus, and it just helps boost immune function. Olive leaf, specifically for viral infections, okay, very effective. So for things like influenza, which is a virus, and then your herpes zoster, chickenpox, those sort of infections, they're all viruses, and olive leaf is very effective for that. The other benefit with olive leaf is research shows that it may actually reduce the onset of exercise-induced respiratory infections. So you might see it a lot with your clients because a lot of the products are targeted at athletes or active individuals, people that train a lot, CrossFit, anything like that. A lot of those people are susceptible to getting recurrent infections, especially coughs and so on. Olive leaf, very effective for that. Okay, so it helps to boost the immune system when it's lowered by intense exercise. Okay. And then grapeseed extract, that's another one of your powerful antioxidants. The proanthocyanidins that are contained within the grapeseed extract are powerful antioxidants. And again, it helps with that oxidative burst, that part of the immune response that we see. Okay. So if we look at it now, we just take it and that's your general, and so we look at the uses of the product. So in general, for now, so let's say you're not sick, we're going into the winter months, you want to be taking 2 capsules every day, before breakfast, every morning, right the way through winter. What that's going to do, it's going to strengthen your army. Okay, that first line of defense. You're now training your army, you're boosting it, you're increasing the number of forces, everything that's there, ready, waiting for an attack. 2 a day is your general use. Okay, perfect time is to start now. Generally, I'd say even March would have been ideal, you know, but we're now going into April. Temperatures are dropping. You can feel it already. You know, the evenings are cold. So the susceptibility is there. People are going to start getting sick. It's going to start spreading, you know. So your exposure to the different viruses and bacteria is going to be higher. So you want a strong army to fight those off. Okay, so if your first line of defense doesn't, you want to now things, and then you're going to start developing symptoms of cold and flu. Okay, so you're going to get that sore throat, you know, things like that. So there you would up your dose. So instead of the 2 capsules that we said to boost the immune system, you would then increase it to maybe 1-3 times a day initially, but you can also increase it to 2-3 times a day as an acute treatment to boost the immune system there. So that's for your colds and flu, any upper respiratory tract infection. So let's say you start with that runny nose, sore throat, it might progress now to a bit of a sinus, that congested headache, a little bit of, yellow, mucus instead of the clear mucus, a little bit of a light cough. There you would definitely 2-3 times a day just to boost your immune function and help target it. So, and you should start seeing improvements already within 2 to 3 days. Generally though, and what you need to always be aware, if someone's symptoms do not improve within about 7 days, they may need to go see their doctor. Okay, that is maybe when intervention with antibiotics might be needed in that, but in general, you'll see with using the product and that within 2 or 3 days, that person's already slowly starting to show improvements, and even probably over it as well. But if it progresses and they're not seeing an improvement before it hits the lungs, that acute bronchitis is easy to treat, but as soon as it gets more chronic and it develops into pneumonia, then it's gone very far. It's hard to treat. And so on. And then your exercise-induced influenzas and infections and so on. For those individuals, generally 2 capsules a day. They just use it all the way just to start increasing and strengthening the immune system. If they have a bout of cold and flu, again, they can increase that dose accordingly. Okay. Who can't take it? Who can take it? Individuals that maybe have autoimmune diseases, so they'll know. So there's a lot of different autoimmune disease, not common, but for an individual with an autoimmune disease, the immune system attacks itself. So if you now go and stimulate the immune system, you're stimulating the body to attack itself harder. Okay, so it's important that individuals with autoimmune diseases just rather avoid immune stimulants. A lot of people with allergies that are hypersensitive and so on sometimes report that it does get worse initially when they start taking an immune booster, because the reason you have an allergy is you're reacting to something that your body normally, it's normally there, but now all of a sudden your body's hypersensitive to it. So if you boost the immune, it may become a little bit more hypersensitive and then drops off. We have noticed with echinacea that if you take it for too long, so let's say I'd say 6 months is probably fine, but if you now start taking it chronically and you've been using it for years and ongoing, it does have the tendency for those individuals to become hypersensitive. So those might never have been allergic to pollens or cat fur or something, all of a sudden start saying, oh, I'm very sensitive to this and that. It may be that overstimulation of the immune system, and it's generally linked to echinacea. But that's from years of use of the product, okay, at those sort of doses that are in the product itself. So nothing too much to worry about. Pregnancy, because of the herbals, there's no safety data, so it would rather be advised avoid during pregnancy. But otherwise, generally okay. Children that can swallow, just 1 capsule daily just to boost the immune system. You just half the dose, but is safe for use for them. And then if they start getting cold and flu and they can swallow the capsule 1-3 times a day should be sufficient for a child under the age of 11. Over the age of 11, could probably start taking the 2 capsules if needed. Okay. So I don't know if there are any questions anyone has, feedback from anyone that's maybe used it, it's always beneficial.
Doc, this is amazing. This is absolutely valuable information. I learned a lot. I take 2 every single day. And I can tell you right now, I don't get sick, touch wood.
Yeah.
I don't get sick.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing product. There's a question here, if somebody has asthma, should they still follow the dosage or should they consult the doctor?
Asthma generally is an inflammation and so on. It can be linked to allergies. So it depends on what the actual cause of the asthma is. So yes, probably best speak to the doctor and see what they say. The only concern there would be the echinacea. Again, because it's that so you don't want it to aggravate the asthma and stuff. So maybe in those certain circumstances, yes, correct. Speak to your doctor. They'll know what the cause is. You know, if it is a hypersensitivity to something and that, then yeah, rather not an immune system. If it's not, there's the other causes, and that they'll be able to say, no, it will actually be beneficial on that. I can say that vitamin D alone is beneficial for asthma. It's very good for strengthening the lungs. So if you can't use the ImmunoMX, then always suggest then maybe for someone that's asthmatic, just high dose vitamin D therapy will be beneficial as well.
Well, you know, listening to you, Doc, I not being a doctor, but our products, remember, we redirect spend. So people are buying all these things. So all we need to do is talk to them about what our product does, one. And number two, just imagine you put the ImmunoMX with a bottle of Noni. So you have Noni today with ImmunoMX. I'm almost convinced you sorted. You know,
no, you're right.
We're not allowed to treat, diagnose, or cure, but listening to you and what Noni does, those two combinations are powerful.
It is, especially now with the winter months. Very good idea. Yeah. I know we are going to touch. I know we'll confirm when it is. I think not next week, the week after, maybe. I think there's a Noni. We're going to do a Noni refresher as well in that. So, and especially we'll focus on the benefits in the the winter months.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So yeah, but it is really, really good. So if you can, I do every morning. I drink my Noni. And then with that, you can take your 2 ImmunoMX. You know, you sorted. You're right.
Well, Doctor, thank you so much for all of this insight, this valuable insight. Tonight's call was amazing. Those watching the recording, I hope you found value here and enjoyed what we presented. Doctor, again, we thank you, and thank you guys for coming onto the call. Next month, we'll have an interesting Impilo. I'm not going to divulge, but next month's Impilo is going to be a different one. And I look forward to that. I look forward to seeing everybody on the next call. So that's our story, and we stick into it. Doc, good night. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Doc.